The real question is, who needs to see my stuff and where are they now? Right.
I'm going to write that down, write it down and maybe just say that and just kind of put it out there because I like how that's worded, the message you use. I was interested in how your marketing was done. I've never seen anybody do anything like that. So I just texted you and here we are. Essentially, like I told you, I'm looking to do a YouTube channel, which I've started, but I feel like there's a lot that I don't know. The thing I'm seeing is that I have a story to tell and I have a lot to say. But then when it comes to like the search engine optimization and I see the way the branding is done and certain things, there's a lot that I'm missing.
So what I did in 2019 is I put out one video on YouTube per week for the whole year. And for me, that was important to do. But in 2020, I realized, you know what? In January, I said, this isn't really doing much for me anymore because I feel like, yes, I'm still learning and growing, but it's not really worth it. So I stopped. And then what I did was I found a way to produce 7 videos a week, 1 a day, for way less time. Right. And that's by batch shooting a lot of content and having it be with other people, right? Communicating with other people, talking with other people, because then it's not like having to figure out a concept and set up the cameras and be like, okay, what am I going to talk about? Maybe create a little bullet pointed script or whatever it is. Instead, I'm talking with human beings and there's always going to be something to do, something to talk about. And so it's kind of like a video podcast, if you will, and it allowed me to batch shoot so that I'm creating 7 pieces of content every Sunday. And then if I post 1 a day, then I'm good to go. Now, that being said, I have a small team. I have a video editor and a VA who posts everything and schedules everything for me. So right now, my content is scheduled through October. So
oh my God.
If I were to go on vacation, I would have a post going out every day until October. And that takes time, but that's more on the content creation side of things. And then as far as getting human beings to find out about you, really what it comes down to for me, other than, just grinding at it and just, going into the comments and, going into finding where your people are and, really just grinding it out like one person at a time, which you can totally do. But my strategies have been a few things. One is running ads, right? As you've seen, I got the YouTube ad, the Instagram, Facebook ad, where I just say, here's my phone number, text me.
Right.
Then I have press outreach, right? So actually getting onto podcasts, talking to people about what I'm doing. And for that, it really just comes down to having something to share, having something important, whether that be a release of a product or a service or a story to tell or whatever that looks like. I mean, I'm sure you've listened to plenty of podcasts and video interviews.
Right.
So those are the 2 ways that I use personally. Really what it comes down to is deciding what really resonates with you. Do you just love talking to people, getting interviewed? Or maybe you prefer written word and you want to be in magazines. My partner, Rara, she owns a farm. She gets in lots of magazines, things of that nature. And that's her thing. She writes. And so she gets her articles like featured, but also she, has people ask, interview her on a phone call and then turn that into an article. And so it just really comes down to what way do you want to get human beings to find out about you? And the way I like to do that is to say, instead of building something and then figuring out who can find it, I would say, who do I want to serve and where are they, right? So who do you want to serve?
Whoever needs, I guess, the encouragement, or maybe they're looking to change their life, or they need the inspiration, the motivation. It's not everybody, because not everybody's on the same pathway, or maybe everybody has a different way of thinking or what they want out of life. But whoever's looking for that, and if I spark that in them, then that's great. I did my part.
From there, you might say, okay, cool. Well, I have a YouTube channel and Instagram. Why don't I run a video ad on YouTube and Instagram? But then from there, then the question comes up, where am I going to get this money from? And like, sure, whether you have, tons of money to work with or none, the idea is if you can run an ad that costs you, I'm just going to throw out a random number for math's sake, $10, right? You take that $10, if you want to spend $10 a day, then it's going to, at the end of the month, that's going to be, $300, right? But if you're going to spend $10 a day and you have a small little product that doesn't cost too much, but it runs it to a landing page where someone can buy something, then the goal will be for you to make $10 off of that $10 ad. and then you'll break even. Right, and that's what I'm doing. So in the ad that you most likely watched, I do say in there, and by the way, currently I'm taking no profit out of this. This is a labor of love. Any money that I receive goes right back into helping more people find out about, my services and what I'm doing. That's because I have other sources of income and I can afford to do that. But also what's really important is if I spend $100 a day on YouTube or $1,000 a day on YouTube or $10 a day on YouTube, that money comes back to me every day. And then instead of, going out and buying something, I put that back into ads and then I just generate more and more people. So you only need to invest one time and it can be small. It can start with you say, okay, I'm going to take $100 out of my savings and I'm going to put it into ads on whatever platform, right? And then I'm going to have a little thing that I sell. Maybe it's like, all of the content you've ever done, or maybe it's just like, whatever you want. You could figure out what that thing is. It could be an ebook, it could be coaching, it could be, whatever feels right to you. For me, it's an online course. I have Dream University. I have a $1 trial, and then there's a rebill. And then I also offer coaching for $97 a month. So those are the things that I offer. And all that money I take and I put it back into ads because I'm just focused on building my audience so that more people can find out about me as opposed to making $1 million. Like that's fun. That'd be great. But right now my focus is just helping people and getting the message out there. So that's ads. On the other hand, if you have an interest in getting on podcasts or anything like that, it's either A, reaching out to people one-on-one, just having a copy paste message and don't make it too spammy, but actually, customize each one, or hiring a podcast company, which I'm looking into right now. Because I tried to reach out to people one-on-one and it works, but it takes a lot. So I just said, you know what, let me automate this because this is important to me.
That's actually one idea that I never thought about. It didn't occur to me until you said that.
Being on podcasts?
Yeah. Well, I've done it once, but in terms of like the work of reaching out to each person individually and then scheduling the time to be on one, I haven't thought of that. So that's good. Yeah.
Totally. Especially start with smaller ones. It's not super easy to tell if they have a big audience or not. But if you start with really small ones and then just get the practice in and then when you go to the small to medium sized ones, you can say, I've been on these 10 small podcasts. And then there's like, oh, she's been on 10 podcasts. And then the small to medium ones take you. And then you say to the bigger ones, hey, I've been on these medium-sized podcasts, and you just build and build from there. And then, if you get to a place where, hopefully at some point you reach that kind of terminal velocity and people are reaching out to you and you're just getting on podcasts.
Huh. That's great. That's so cool.
Yeah, it does take some time, it takes some work because you're DMing people on Instagram and maybe you send out 30, 40 of them and 3 people say yes. But it's all in a day's work. And then at some point, if you wanted to just remove that workload from your day, then you could find someone else to do it for you.
Oh, well, that's exactly why I wanted to get on this call, because I had a feeling that it's going to generate some type of, I guess, I'm going to get something from it in terms of where to go and how to move forward. Mm-hmm. So that's always good.
Yeah. And just, making sure that you're focusing on something you really enjoy. If you enjoy reaching out to people, great. I mean, some people, it's like, yeah, I'd love to just be on Instagram all day connecting with people. I mean, that sounds like fun. For me, I'm like,
I used to do cold calling.
Oh, wow.
So the TV show that I worked for, you had to reach out to different businesses, but it was totally like you didn't have a warm list. And then, if it was kind of like marketing, branding, but then they had the chance to be on CBS and then take that and say, hey, I was on CBS, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. So if I like their brand, then I would talk that up. But these are total strangers. So I have experience just calling people. So it seems like that's kind of transitioning into my own project.
Yeah. I love when that happens, the kind of synchronicities where you're like, oh, I actually have done that before. And I didn't know that cold calling was setting me up for being ready to get on podcasts.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Yeah, especially if you can reach out to people on the phone. I mean, how many people are just doing that right now, right?
It's kind of nobody wants to do it right now. Definitely it's not the time, but hopefully when this all clears,
Well, that's the thing though, is a lot of podcasts are digitally, right? They're interviewing people over the internet, over the phone. Just there's tons of ways to do it where you can start now And maybe people are, getting a lot of cancellations from their in-person podcast interviews and they need to fill those spots. So, no reason to wait to start if that's something that really resonates with you. And I think that really just stepping back from the specific strategy of podcasts, the real question is, who needs to see my stuff? And where are they now? Right?
I'm going to write that down, write it down and maybe just say that and just kind of put it out there.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
I like how that's worded, the message you use, because it's right for and not everything's right for everybody. Like I said, some people need to see it, and for some people it's just not for them. So I'm going to put who needs to see my stuff.
Right. Yeah. And then who has already done the work to get those people, right? There are other influencers, other podcasters, other magazines, other websites that have already put in sometimes millions of dollars in multiple years to get that audience. So you can just show up at those places and say, hey, I'm doing something like that too. I'd love to help, whether that be, in comments or whether that be advertising to their audience, which you can totally do, or getting on their podcast, their media, whatever that looks like. So yeah, I hope that helps. And if you do consider the idea of monetizing, then I'd love to have a separate chat with you at any point and helping you monetize. But I think you're on the right path for just saying, look, I want to create great content. I want to add a ton of value. And I'm just now starting to ideate how I can get human beings to find out about me and like what I'm doing. So that's great. Go for that. And then the last thing I'll say is just setting up a email list or a text list like I do, so that you can stay in touch with people. And I know there's social media and all that, but the thing is like at some point, you never know if like YouTube's going to change the way they do things or Instagram's going to change the way they do things. And if you have a direct communication to someone, then you own that data. So now, I can text you because you jumped on my text messaging platform until you reply stop. And if you reply stop, I can't communicate with you. But until then, I can. And if anything happens with any other social media platform, then I still have a direct communication with my audience. And
Sure.
So that's something to consider. But also, it's not a huge rush. I'd really just focus on, creating great content and finding people that are interested. And that's why I like to do these one-on-one touch points with people, because I feel like, I could create 12, 20 pieces of content. You might see 2 pieces and you might forget who I am, or we could jump on a quick call and I can have value and you're like, that's my friend, like
Sure.
Now we're in a position where we've had a real conversation, and then I'm, proliferating that throughout the internet, and people are knowing, hey, this is a dude. Like someone kind of made fun of me on one of these calls recently and said, you're so easy to get a hold of. It's like, yeah, well, that's the idea. Everybody wants to act as if they're, on this high level and, showing everybody their highlight reel as opposed to their behind the scenes. And I just want to be a person that can show up and be consistent over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years of,
Thank you. Thank you for doing, people need that, because the thing is, I like to speak about productivity and goals, and not everybody is always on that same wavelength. So you need, I'm a believer, you're the 5 people you surround yourself with. So I'm always looking for people that are looking, okay, even though we're in this pandemic, I have to still keep positive in terms of
totally
where I was going before this all happened. So I appreciate even the call, just to talk about what I'm doing and to keep that hype.
Totally. Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
I'm
awesome.
enjoying them. Yeah. Shari, I appreciate your time. I got this call in another 3 minutes. Follow up with me. Let me know how it goes, and give yourself a week or 2 weeks or a month or whatever it is, and just pick a day on the calendar that you're going to have something done by, right? Maybe it's like today's Sunday. So by next Sunday, I'm going to have a plan for how many people I reach out to or who I'm going to reach out to. Maybe you create
that's great.
So that you have an actionable, so that you can look at the calendar and say, okay, I was supposed to do this by then. So what does that look like to you? What do you think that should be?
Okay. The 30 to 40 is pretty easy. So I can make a set and then use an Excel sheet and just go from there.
Great. So 30 to 40 like different outlets and things that you can that have the people you're looking to connect with?
Yes.
Great. Yeah, sounds great. And when do you think you could do that by?
Next week.
Great. Awesome. Do it. Thank you. It was a real pleasure.
Thanks again. I'll be in touch with you soon.
Okay. Bye, Shari. Hey, thanks so much for checking out this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot of value from it. And if you know someone who maybe needs their day brightened up, or someone who's just motivated and driven and wants to make a difference or needs more advice or whatever it is, I implore you to copy the link and send this to them. Shoot them a text or an email or share this on the social media platform that you're on now. I'd really appreciate that. It would give me an opportunity to spread this message further and wider. And if I can help you more, then feel free to go to nathan.tv. That's nathen.tv. I have online courses, I have coaching opportunities, things of that nature, whether it be paid or free. I want to do whatever I can to help you live your best life. And additionally, if you want your own free consultation, I give them out from time to time. Feel free to text me. My phone number is 310-807-1998, and I'll prompt you with what to do from there. So until next time, stay abundant, stay happy, stay motivated, stay driven, stay focused, and all the other beautiful things. Life is beautiful. No regrets on our deathbed. Chat soon. Thanks.